Hi, good morning. This is R. Bhaskar here from BKBB, which is an acronym for Bhaskar Ki Business Baatein. This is a channel that brings to you policy analysis every week or a conversation and sometimes an occasional business story. And first of all, let me begin by thanking you for being with us for the 100th episode of what we do right now, and that is News Behind the News at 8:15 every morning on weekdays, Monday to Friday. And incidentally, thanks to you, our subscriptions have crossed 40,000 and we are growing, but we could grow a little more if you tell your friends about us. Please do that. And if you can click the subscribe button, do that if you're not a subscriber already. And do click the like button if you like it. It helps us. Anyway, my co-anchor today for this News Behind the News is Anurag. Anurag, welcome. It's good to have you here. And the stories that the two of us are going to discuss are given in a screen. The first is coaching classes are booming. Why? And the second is some punters believe silver will do better than gold. Is that so? And the third one is on how some banks have been fleecing the smallest of customers. And they're learning a lesson now. So let's do the first story first. India is unusual because it has a vibrant coaching class industry. Just see the figures. The coaching class industry has been growing year after year after year. And although, thanks to inflation and poor purchasing power, the growth rate has diminished in the last 2 years, the red line there, the fact is that total collection of coaching classes keeps on growing. Why? Many people say it's because students want to win competitive examinations and also win prestigious seats, which are limited in number. But then there are limited numbers of seats overseas as well, and in other developing economies which have large populations. Why is this happening in India? And the answer is very simple. Coaching classes thrive because mainstream education, what is sometimes called the legitimate education, is no longer relevant because of poor quality, poor teachers. The government has not looked after schools, after outcomes of teachers, and has not paid its teachers well enough compared to its peers in other countries. What does this mean? It means the government is creating a situation where parents have no choice but to send their children to coaching classes to win jobs, to make sure that they understand the subject better, because what should have been done at the school level is now being done at the coaching class level. It's a sad reflection. Effectively, the government's apathy is being paid for by students' parents. And that is not funny for parents who have to sacrifice everything else and pay those fees in spite of an inflation in education costs. Anyway, that brings me to the end of my piece. But let's look at something a more alluring and attractive field, and that is gold and silver. Anurag, could we have you?
Good morning. Today, the market's white metal captures headlines with Citibank forecasting a 13% price jump by year's end, while gold, long the darling of stability, could see a dramatic 25% fall by 2026. Behind this attention grabbing forecast lies more than metal. It's a story about the world's accelerating energy transition, persistent supply shortages, and shifting investor appetites. Let's start with silver's ascent. Unlike gold, which is mainly seen as a store of value, silver occupies a pivotal role in the world's accelerating push towards clean energy. More than half of all silver demand now stems from industrial uses like solar panels, electric vehicles, and cutting edge electronics. As countries double down on renewable energy targets, demand for silver has outpaced supply for 5 consecutive years, resulting in persistent shortages and making the market especially sensitive to even small shift in appetite. The scarcity is compounded by stagnant mine production and slow recycling rates, while investors are increasingly drawn in by silver's dual promise, both as a hedge and as a play on the future. All these forces have driven silver to its highest prices in over a decade. Now, in contrast, gold recently enjoyed a 27% rally, fueled by central banks buying and robust inflows into gold-backed funds. But as the year unfolds, analysts anticipate this momentum will fade. Expectations are that the gold could slip below $3,000 next year and even further as economic stability returns and institutional demand wanes. Finally, the historic gold silver ratio, a classic gauge of value between the metals, bit- has been dropped from 100 to 85, still well above its long term average of 100, which implies that if this gap continues to narrow, silver could yet outshine gold for months to come, especially as demand for green technologies surge. In essence, silver's story isn't simply about catching up with gold, it's about powering the future one industrial application at a time. What's your take on this, sir?
Looks attractive, looks interesting, but let me warn viewers about one thing. The story of silver demand is a story that's been going on for the last 20 to 25 years. Second, while there is a ratio between gold and silver, that ratio is managed by speculators and not by demand. There are hedging companies, there are de-hedging companies, and that is why the price of gold or silver moves up. It's a manipulated price increase and the differential increase. Maybe silver will rise faster, maybe it will not. But the trend is what we are talking about now. Don't bet your money on the basis of these charts unless you understand the commodities very well. You could lose your shirt. And as far as gold is concerned, no matter what you do, global conditions are uncertain. All currencies are in a state of flux. Hence, gold remains attractive. Will it go up? I can't tell you. But punters will tell you that gold demand will decline. May be wrong because gold prices are driven not by demand and supply, but by hedging and de-hedging. And that takes me to the third story. Thank you, Anurag. And that takes me to the third story. And the third story is one on banks and how some banks are actually fleecing customers, the poorest of customers, the weakest of customers. Look at the two charts. Banks are making money even by putting fines on non-maintenance of minimum balance. And the total fines that were collected were over 2,000 crore, as the charts will tell you. But then there is another story to it. Look at the other chart, and you'll find that the biggest out of 2,000 crore plus, the largest amount is picked up by Punjab National Bank. What is unusual of Punjab National Bank is that this bank has been involved in almost every scam in the past several decades. It loses money in scams, and to make up for the money, it fleeces small customers when a bank does not maintain minimum balance. It just means that he cannot afford to keep a minimum balance, either because he's trading, but these are small deposit holders, small account holders. And so, they need the money, they don't give any balance, and the banks fine them. Many customers have started closing the accounts. And that is why all these banks are now planning to cancel, to remove the fine on minimum balance. It's not that the value that it's because of their understanding of the values behind banking. It's just that they don't want to lose customers. Customers are voting with their feet by walking out and joining other banks that don't charge you. Remember, India's largest bank is SBI. Where is SBI on this list? And if SBI comes in, it comes in very, very low. Which means that sensible banks don't exploit small customers. But every bank is now beginning to realize the unfairness of this levy and are planning to cancel it. Good sense sometimes comes through harsher routes. And that takes me to the end of today's third story also. And let us go now to what we always do, and that is questions and answers from the audience or comments from the audience. The first comment is, of course, inevitably on gold and silver. Will gold go up? Will the prices increase? As always, I can only smile and say, I don't know. Because speculation, advising you on speculation is not our forte. These are the numbers that are available in industry on the charts of going up and down, but then we don't tell you anything about what the future will be like when it comes to prices of gold and silver or even shares. The second question is, why did the RBI put a stop to these banks charging fines and minimum balance? Three reasons why. One, the RBI does not want to get in the way of banks making profits because the banks have to recover the losses that they made, especially the scams, and through loans to unscrupulous borrowers. The second is the RBI itself plays games when it has to give large dividends to the government of India. And the third is that the RBI has often been faulted for being negligent in its investigations, and it moves and it tries to shut the door after the horses are bolted. Look at the scams that have taken place, whether Nirav Modi scam or any other scam. You find that the RBI wakes up after the scam is over. What was it doing before? Anyway, that's the second question. There is one more question. Why are banks charging charging this without captioning? I don't know what that means. But why are banks charging? The banks charge you for various things. Remember 20 years ago when ATMs came in, they said ATMs are good for the banking industry. It will reduce costs for the banking industry. Having a manpower dispensing cash is more expensive. And they were touting the advantage of ATMs. Today they're charging people for using ATMs and even charging them for ATM cards. If it was supposed to be cheaper for you, why are you charging the customers again? You want to make money by saving on costs, and you want to make money even the cards that you ask customers to take for using the ATM. Banks have not been very fair in India. Anyway, but that's reality. The third is coaching classes. Why doesn't the government ban coaching classes? No, banning is not right. You first improve your schools, improve your colleges, let the students get better education in the mainstream channels. Then you can think of banning. Let me give you an example. China, for instance, has banned coaching classes. It has even banned private tuitions. You want them? Go to the mainstream education. Our teachers are good. Our standards are good. We do not want private education because private education brings in elitism, and the poor are forced to pay the money because the rich are paying that money. So China can do it because the quality of the school education and college education and university education are among the best. Which is why More Chinese universities are moving up into the top 100 or the top 10 compared to Indian universities. The government has failed miserably on the school front, which is a national priority and is a constitutional obligation. And that takes me to the end of today's session. Thank you for being with us. And today's Friday. You have a long weekend ahead. Have a lovely weekend. And as for today, have a wonderful day. Enjoy yourself. See you on Monday. Take care.